magsasawa.
Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your day. I'm Riza Diaz. We begin today's newscast with the recent surge in new COVID-19 infections matching peak levels seen in July last year. But the health department says the new variants of concern are not entirely to blame. Camille Samonte with the story.
For the sixth straight day, new COVID-19 cases in the country breached the 4,000 level. This range of new daily cases matches the peak seen in July 2020, according to the Health Department. This DOH chart would show that cases during the first week of March this year would match the level of cases in August of last year. But delays in reporting in 2020 should be factored in, says the DOH.
This is epi curve, meaning po kung kailan po nagkasakit. No? So medyo mas delayed siya. Pwede ngayon lang po kasi na-report pero ang pagkakasakit nga ay days or weeks ago. It's now at the same peak. Sabihin kung gaano karami yung nagiging pinakamataas na dami ng pagkakasakit last July, now it's at the same peak.
Active cases in the country are also now at 61,000, a level last seen September last year. Dr. Althea de Guzman of DOH Epidemiology Bureau says majority of the infections are happening at home and workplaces. She noted that for this month, cases are now 2.5 times higher compared to January. They are looking at the new and more contagious variants as a contributing factor. But even before these were detected, cases are already on the rise.
Meron ka mang isa o dalawang variant of concern, pataas talaga tayo lahat eh. No? At kung tutuusin, yung pataas na dami ng kaso natin, bago pa man tayo nakakita ng mga variants of concern, nakita na natin siya.
Not just in Metro Manila.
The UP Octa research says the reproduction number in Metro Manila from March 10 to 16 significantly increased to 1.96. This means a single COVID-19 patient may infect 2 people.
The other factors were that there's the complacency of people. We do admit that there's some pandemic fatigue, and there's some people believing that the vaccines are here, so everything's going to be okay. And I think that also increased mobility. People started going out once the vaccine was here.
Experts believe there are many ways to balance economic reopening and public health.
It's very important that you take care of yourself. Talagang you have to equip yourself, try to boost up your immune system. So sabi nila, huwag ka magpuyat, exercise, sleep is very important.
Dr. Jonas Del Rosario says LGUs should continue implementing localized lockdowns and stringent contact tracing in their localities. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
One person carrying the UK variant can spread the virus twice fast as the original variant. Infectious disease expert Dr. Ronjin Solante says observing minimum health protocols is still key in curbing transmission of the UK variant. Solante, who also heads the Adult Infectious Disease and Tropical Medicine Department of San Lazaro Hospital, said stricter compliance with health protocols is crucial now that some hospitals are almost at full capacity.
Yeah, malapit na kaming mapuno. In fact, ang ginagawa namin ngayon is mag-cohorting, no? So sa isang kwarto, tigda dalawa para lang medyo madagdagan ang magiging capacity natin. So araw-araw tumataas yung mga admissions natin, no? So ito yung ine-expect na natin. Hopefully, pag mapuno na kami, ayun, maghanap tayo ng paraan kung paano pa natin additionally maka-accommodate tayo ng mga kinakailangang maalagaan sa hospital.
Cabinet Secretary and IATF co-chairman Carlo Nograles also pointed out that the mode of transmission is still the same no matter what the variant. So, wearing face masks, frequent hand washing, and social distancing are still our best defense while waiting for a general vaccine rollout. He says the challenge still lies with balancing public health and the country's economic recovery.
It's a very delicate balance dahil gusto mong lumuwag ng ekonomiya para mas lalong marami ang makakapagtrabaho at makakapaghanap buhay. Pero syempre that will incur more movement. Pag mas marami naman ang movement, mas malaki rin yung chances na magkahawaan, mag-transmission ang COVID-19 virus.
The Philippines is once again tightening border restrictions after finding that the leading cause of a new and emerging variants is inbound travel. Marian Enriquez has the rest of the story.
Back in February, the country eased its restrictions on the entry of foreigners, allowing diplomats and other Philippine passport holders to come to the Philippines. But with COVID-19 cases soaring once again and more reported cases of new and contagious variants, the government is tightening its borders again. Beginning March 20 until April 19, foreigners and even returning Filipinos who are not OFWs will be barred from entering the country. But 9C visa holders, medical repatriates, and their escorts rescued distressed overseas Filipinos, and those with emergency and humanitarian cases are exempted pending National Task Force approval.
Ang nakikita po natin talaga nagiging cause na nakita natin yung mga variants is coming from the inbound travel. Once na hindi natin naprotektahan po yan, ay magkakaroon po tayo ng tinatawag na exponential increase ng mga cases.
The IATF is also limiting the number of inbound passengers at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport to only 1,500 from 3,000 previously.
Nakita po natin yung mga hotels. Wala na po papupuntahan yung ating mga inbound travelers.
This is more of a demand for quarantine facilities.
Because of the new policy, Koji Espina, Filipino resident in Japan, will not be able to attend the baptism and birthday of his child.
Dati pagkakasabi ni President Duterte, basta Pilipino pwedeng pumasok ng bansa. Biglang ganun ang hirap.
Transportation Undersecretary Artemio Tuazon explains why OFWs will still be allowed entry.
Pag natapos na yung mga kontrata nila or kailangan na nilang umuwi, ay madalas naiipit sila overseas.
Authorities say airlines that will carry more travelers than their allocation will be slapped with a fine. IATF assures that they will raise the quota of passengers if the spread of cases, particularly in Metro Manila, has slowed down. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
Parents and guardians are also reminded that minors in Metro Manila cannot be allowed to leave their homes, but some exceptions still apply. JC Cosico with the details.
Barangay Santo Domingo in Quezon City has an extra set of eyes. CCTV cameras are positioned in streets to monitor compliance to COVID-19 protocols. It's captured violators, minors outside homes without face masks and shields. Minors have been ordered to stay at home for the next 2 weeks.
Sa mga magulang po ng mga bata na nasa labas ng bahay, papasukin niyo po ang inyong mga anak sa loob ng bahay. Paulit-ulit po kami nagpapaalala, mga magulang. Huwag niyo pong pabayaan o hayaan ang inyong pong mga anak ay nasa labas ng bahay.
Parents and their children immediately ran inside their houses, but some were nabbed and brought to the barangay hall.
Hindi kasi pwede yung ganyan ngayon.
Guardians will be slapped with fines from 300 pesos up to 1,000 pesos, depending on the number of offenses.
Hindi naman kami nagkulang na wag silang lumabas. Makulit talaga, hindi sumusunod.
Another parent is dismayed that they now have to cancel their Batangas Holy Week trip.
Sa bahay na lang po, dasal-dasal na lang, ganyan. Video call na lang po sa mga kamag-anak namin sa probinsya.
But there might still be a way. The MMDA says those 15 and above may travel with their families in a private vehicle.
Yung pong 15, 16, and 17, pinapayagan po iyon, no? Dahil mas iba paano, kamukha na sinabi ko po, safety naman siguro ng magulang, tsaka point-to-point naman ang mangyayari eh.
As for air travel, Philippine Airlines, via a clarification from the National Task Force, said minors are still allowed in domestic air travel in preparation for the Holy Week break. IATF co-chair Carlo Nograles said it's best for tourists planning to go to the provinces to coordinate their trips with LGUs.
Ang una niya munang tanungin is kung yung LG of destination ba ay tumatanggap rin ng minors.
Nograles called on the Tourism Department to issue new guidelines, especially on travel bubbles where tourists are allowed. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
Now here are the biggest stories from the dailies. The Philippine Star reports that the government is aiming to increase the rate of vaccinations in May. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez says they eye to inoculate 2 to 4 million people per week. But in April, Galvez says they will start with a target of 1 million vaccinations per week. Galvez also assured the public that the government is working to procure a steady supply of vaccines to the country to meet its targets. This from Filipino Star ngayon. The Senate is set to investigate supposed anomalies into pork imports in the country, also known as Tongpats scheme. To address this, the Senate is set to invite Agriculture Secretary William Dar to a session. That's in order to shed light into the sudden transfer of former Bureau of Animal Industry Chief Ronnie Domingo to the Philippine Carabao Center. Senator Ping Lacson believes that this move is questionable since it was during Domingo's time at the BAA that pork import issues arose. Retired Supreme Court Justice Antonio Carpio will lead a coalition of opposition candidates to challenge Duterte-backed candidates in next year's elections. The former magistrate will head One Sambayan, which consists of sectoral groups forming a slate of national candidates. Carpio said he formed the coalition to strengthen and secure victory for the opposition. He said both independent candidate Grace Poe and administration candidate Mar Rojas lost to Duterte in 2016 after the votes got divided. Legendary OPM artist Ely Buendia finally released a new song this year, but this time around, Buendia is shying away from metaphors to urge people to vote wisely. MJ Marfori with the story.
OPM icon Ely Buendia is calling for smart voting in 2022 in his new song, Metro. The former Eraserheads frontman posed this question. He takes a swipe at unnamed incompetent politicians and their supporters. He also tackles the West Philippine Sea dispute and the government's pandemic response. In the coda, Ely urges Filipinos to make a decisive choice. We Need a Leader PH's YouTube page launched the video. The campaign was launched by ousted House Speaker and former PDP Laban Secretary Pantaleon Alvarez. For News 5, MJ Marfori, We Are One News.
And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 10 in the morning as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.